Having a life scholarship and being able to afford to go to college made me feel inspired to go.
When I got a life scholarship, it was such a relief.
I knew that I wanted to have an impact. Having a life scholarship through the SC Education Lottery was huge. It gave me the opportunity to make that impact right here at home.
The South Carolina Education Lottery. A better you, a better us, a better South Carolina. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Word of Mom Radio here on the Word of Mom Media Network. I'm your host, Dori DeCarlo, and you know we are here week after week, show after show, breaking those myths that mompreneurs and businesswomen, especially those of us building our businesses from home, that we're just dabbling in between bake sales and getting our nails done. We're not. We are smart, we are savvy, and we are sharing the wisdom of women in business and in life, and I'm looking forward to bringing today's guest into our Healthy Habits show. Christine Trimpe is a transformative wellness leader dedicated to empowering professional Christian women to reclaim their health and vitality through her faith-based holistic approach to weight loss. As the founder of the Sugar-Freed Me Method and a certified sugar licensed practitioner, Christine helps clients achieve lifelong healing from sugar addiction and food-related struggles. Her clients experience dramatic transformations, including sustained weight loss and breakthroughs in physical, emotional, and spiritual health, with over 80% retention in her programs. After a personal 100-pound weight loss journey, Christine created a method that goes beyond conventional dieting, integrating faith, emotional regulation, and metabolic health principles. Christine's own story, marked by a significant health journey, an embrace of ketogenic eating, and a breakthrough lifestyle change, has inspired thousands since she first shared it in her blog and across social media. Her journey has been highlighted in wellness magazines, including Women's World and First for Women, and featured on dietdoctor.com, where she was named a top low-carb success story. I can keep going, but this is just a fascinating conversation you're getting ready to have. So with all that being said, Christine, welcome to Word of Mom Radio.
Dori, thank you so much for having me. I'm really delighted to be here with you.
It's my pleasure, and I would love for you to take us on your journey, especially the weight loss journey, and really how your faith played a role in it.
Yeah, I'll start from my turning point story. And it actually was almost 10 years ago now. I can't believe it that I've been doing this for 10 years. But 10 years ago, I was on an anniversary trip with my husband to celebrate our 25th anniversary. And we left our home state of Michigan and went to Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado, which is beautiful. And my husband had planned out some hikes for us. So I went to the trail marker that he wanted to go up to Nymph Lake. And I looked at the trail marker and it said a half a mile. And I thought, I can do a half a mile. But I started up that path. And let me tell you, Dori, I only got about halfway up that path to that lake before I began gasping for air. And I could not go another step. I had to tell my husband that he could go on without me. And he said, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm positive," because I needed a moment to myself. In that moment, like, again, I was gasping for air. My legs were killing me. I was just so devastated that I couldn't go on. And the reason being is because my body was not able to do it, the hike. At that time, I was 100 pounds overweight, more than 100 pounds overweight. I would have been what doctors were now classifying me as morbidly obese. And I was just about having a time in my life when the chronic health issues were just starting to pile up. I'd already been told I was pre-diabetic at that time. I knew I was carrying around all this extra weight. My knees were in pain. And I sat on the side of that trail on a stump. And I remember just starting to have a conversation with myself, berating myself, and then got to the point where, like, I cannot go on like this. I was not even 50 years old at that time. I was only 48. And I started thinking about my future. Am I going to be around to meet my grandchildren? Like, only 48 years old. I can't, like, I cannot live exhausted like this any longer. So I remember saying a simple prayer, and it was just, God, I just want to feel better. I just want to feel better, because at that point in my life's journey, I had been yo-yo dieting for 30 years, and I never thought that I'd be ever be able to lose weight and keep it off, because I'd never been able to maintain a weight loss. So I just wanted to feel better. I didn't want to have to sit down and sit on the sidelines of life any longer. So I call that my turning point moment, my no plan B moment. I was determined to go home from that trip and take ownership of my health.
I want to know how you did it.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yes. So one of the first things I did when I got home from that trip, and I told my husband, still while we were on the trip, I told him, when I get home, I will make an appointment for a sleep study. And I had been putting that off for probably 10 years, that I had been chronically snoring, keeping us both awake at night. And it got really bad in the mountain altitude too. So I did that. Monday morning, I called. I said, give me the first available appointment. I don't want to chicken out on it, because I knew I would be coming home with a CPAP machine, because I knew my diagnosis would be obstructive sleep apnea. And I just didn't want to do that. It sounded so uncomfortable to me. But sure enough, I did come home with a CPAP. And that was the very first medical intervention that I took, that I'm so grateful for, that I finally found the resolve to do it, to do something I had been putting off for so long. Because part of a health journey that was super important to me, and to all the women that I coach, I see that as well too. I really encourage them. They need to consider their sleep hygiene as well. So when I started sleeping better, I started waking up more refreshed. And then I was able to just start tackling things one by one. And shortly after that obstructive sleep apnea diagnosis, I also started having painful ovarian cyst. And my doctor ordered an ultrasound for me, and it was discovered during my ultrasound that I had fatty liver disease. So the combination of all those three things happening with, like, in a 6 to 8 week time period, really even strengthened my resolve to continue taking ownership of my health. And the fatty liver disease is what really sparked my interest and got me on the path to this sugar-free lifestyle, because I learned that my liver was full of fat because of the standard American diet that I was eating, which was higher in sugar than what I eat now. Like, not just sugar, the sweet stuff, but sugar in the form of, the carbohydrates from pasta and from bread and potato and things like that. So, that keen interest that I had in the fatty liver taught me that my weight problems, my obesity problems, were all about my hormonal health, and that sugar's a major hormone disruptor. And I needed to learn things like, I got to balance my blood sugar so that my insulin hormone would be balanced. And when my insulin hormone got healthy, that's really, as I started getting my insulin hormone healthy, that's really when the weight loss magic started happening. And adopting a low carb lifestyle is when the weight started just falling off.
I would love for you to talk to us about the sugar-free method and really what sugar does to our bodies.
Yes, when I learned all of this about sugar, I was really blown away, because I had been adhering to dietary advice, like everything in moderation, and eat less and move more. So all of those years, like, I had been doing other programs where I would count my points or count my calories, but some of those foods I was still eating were still high in sugar or high in carbohydrates. And someone like me, my metabolic metabolic function was not good. And normally, when you see people that have fatty liver disease or are carrying around a lot of obesity, they really need to focus in on their metabolic health. So, the sugar-free me method is simply the easiest way to explain it is to get your blood sugars in balance. And when I was eating a diet higher in carbohydrates, for example, when I was still working in corporate America, I would go out and have lunch with my friends, and it might have been a sub sandwich or it might have been, a pasta dish or something. It was higher in carbohydrates. And do you know how in the middle of the afternoon you feel this crash? It's like, oh, I just really feel like I could take a nap right now. And that's your blood sugar crashing. That's, you after you eat a meal that's higher in sugar, higher in carbohydrates, your blood sugar is going to spike up. And then when it crashes, that's when your body's saying, hey, I need some more attention. So for many, many years, I lived as a sugar burner because I was responding to those sugar crashes and just trying to keep my energy up with a diet higher in carbohydrates. But now, what I learned through this journey is as I began to lower the amount of carbohydrates I was eating daily, my blood sugar stabilized and my insulin hormone began healing. And insulin is your fat storing hormone. So when I learned that, that was like the key that I needed to finally find success in a weight loss journey and also in maintaining a weight loss for life. I 100% believe that this is the way that I'm going to live for life. I really monitor the sugar that I eat in the form of white sugar, sweet sugars, and also, potato chips, tortilla chips, things like that. I know that they were harmful to my health, and so abstaining from them is really working for me. And let me tell you that it is truly possible to break up with sugar and bust those sugar cravings because the less of that you eat, that will really relieve the cravings. And I don't really miss eating foods like that were destroying my metabolism.
It's interesting to me because people are under that misnomer diet soda. That's
Yeah.
one of the first things to me
Yeah.
that I see people chugging their sugar-free diet sodas thinking, oh my. So,
Yeah, right.
Dad,
And I don't eat.
you break it to them, Christine.
Yes, okay, I will. This is something I ask my coaching clients all the time. If they were to look at the ingredient label, what is the nutritional benefit of diet soda? It's pure chemicals. There is no nutritional benefit in that. And now, as we're focusing on our health and this healing journey, we want to choose nutrient-rich foods. And also, it's been proven that diet soda triggers sugar cravings too. I mean, it really keeps those cravings alive in your mind. And the goal of the sugar-free me method is to quiet those cravings so that when we are cued or triggered emotionally, and so many of us want to cope with food, when we are triggered emotionally too, but we quieting those sugar cravings are something that are really going to help you step into the freedom. And that's what the freed part is in the sugar-freed method.
It's interesting to me because I'm not a soda drinker. I'd rather drink water. I love to drink tea. I've never had a cup of coffee. I don't use sugar. I don't use honey in my tea. I don't, once in a blue moon, if I'm drinking a chai tea, I want it a little sweet. I'll use a teaspoon of honey, but I'm not a big sugar person. I love to bake. I give it away. But that being said, when I do want to enjoy something, I want to enjoy it. So how do you balance this, Christine?
Yeah. Well, fortunately, there are so many wonderful creative recipe creators out there that will use sugar substitutes like stevia and erythritol. And you can find all kinds of low carb desserts if you go on Pinterest or go on Google, to look. So there is a way to have that sweet satisfaction. And I don't do a whole lot of baking. I never really did. My source of sugar preference was like the potato chips or the potatoes and the French fries, things like and bread. I used to really fill up on bread. And knowing then when I learned that that was really damaging my metabolic health because I was insulin resistant. And it sounds like you might be someone that not everybody is insulin resistant, but if your doctor has told you you're insulin resistant or you have metabolic syndrome, then you are very sensitive to these blood sugar swings and the insulin hormone being the fat storing hormone. And there is a way to heal that. And when you see people carrying around a lot of obesity and, morbidly obese, most likely their doctor has told them they're insulin resistant. So to heal the hormone insulin, to get it in a healthy state, to lower the blood marker reading, really abstaining and lowering the amount of carbohydrates you're eating on a daily basis can really help heal and reverse a lot of those chronic diseases, which I ended up reversing. My pre-diabetes, I reversed my obstructive sleep apnea, I reversed my fatty liver disease, and I reversed my morbid obesity. So, and I did that by the choices in the food that I make.
On that note, think of what Christine is saying here, please. We're going to take a quick break, say thank you to our sponsors, and we'll be back here in just a moment on Word of Mom Radio. She is brave, she is bold, she is you, and we want to tell your story. Are you ready to share your journey with us on Word of Mom Radio? Go to wordofmomradio.com and register as a guest. We want to tell your story because when you win, we all win.
In 2017, Unsilenced Voices was formed to help survivors of domestic abuse and gender-based violence worldwide. The organization currently serves Sierra Leone, Rwanda, Ghana, and the USA. In 2022, Unsilenced Voices gifted over $33,000 to survivors in the USA, and in Sierra Leone, there are over 26 young girls who have been rescued from sex trafficking and domestic abuse and now going through vocational training school in order to better their lives. We need your help. Donations are critical in order for us to continue our work. We also need volunteers to help with research and development. Please visit unsilencedvoices.org for more information.
And we're back here with Christine Trimpe. We are talking about the sugar-freed me method and really the epidemic in our country. And I want to switch over to childhood obesity because that is so frightening to me, and it is such a learned behavior so often. It is very rare that you see a healthy weighted family. I'll say it that way.
Right.
With an obese child.
Right. Yeah.
How do we deal with this? Because what are the different contributing factors to most of this, Christine?
Well, I do think that obviously we have an obesity epidemic in this country right now. And not to sound like a huge conspiracy theorist, I'm not, but our food environment has only gotten worse since I'm 58 now. So, and I did go through some periods of chubbiness when I was a child. So I think that metabolically I was, very susceptible to being morbidly obese. It is not all genetics. I don't believe that either. I do 100% believe it's the food environment. So I look at like school lunches, for example, now, and I kind of cringe. I'm like, oh my goodness, now that I know what I know, if we could remove, the bags of potato chips and the chocolate chip cookies and things like that, and have them as a treat occasionally for kids, most kids can handle that. But yes, we definitely need to do better. And I'm very excited about the attention that metabolic health is beginning to get in our country. We're talking about removing the dyes from food, and we're talking about changing school lunches and things like that. So I do believe that I have hope. I have a lot of hope because there's a lot of awesome stories of people just like me that have been able to turn their health around for the better by choosing whole nutritious foods. I say that I call it from God's good smorgasbord. If God created it, it doesn't need an ingredient label. And that's typically what I choose to put in my mouth and how I keep my body healthy.
Well, on that note, what are some of the healthy alternatives, especially for our kids and different healthy habits? We're on the Healthy Habits Show that you can instill in them that is going to impact future generations.
Right. And I wish I could have a do-over with my own kids, believe me, because I can remember going up and down every aisle of the grocery store and grabbing the things like the fruit snacks and the Hostess ho-hos, things like that to pack in their lunches. But now my best tip that I love to give for young moms raising kids too, obviously start them early with whole and wholesome foods. And I would not be giving my kids the sugar-laden fruit snacks and things like that, factory processed. It's not real fruit. It was pure chemicals what I was giving my kids. Shopping the perimeter of the grocery store and choosing foods from those sections, like your meat and your dairy and your fish and your fresh fruits and veggies, that is like the most wholesome, nutrient-rich foods that we can eat for our health. I think that they would grow, stronger and healthier.
Well, I'm going to share a story with you. My kids, I was a single mom since my kids were 6, 4, and 2.
Oh, wow.
And so they were now 4, 6, and 8. And it was a Wednesday. So that was just snack day because daddy was going to come down and pick him up. He only lived a half a mile away. We were very successfully divorced. And my friend Mary Ellen was visiting and brought a thing of Malamars. So she's having a cup of tea and Malamars. I'm having a cup of tea and I have some little mini carrots. Now I'm eating some veggies and the kids come home from school. The bus stop was literally across the street from our house, just the small little one-way street. So in come the 3 of them and they're all excited. And what's our snack day today? And I said, well, Mary Ellen brought Malamars. And they were like, what is that? I said, oh, it's a cookie with marshmallows and chocolate. It's delicious. And they said, what else? I said, well, baby carrots. All 3 of them picked the baby carrots. And Mary Ellen was like, what have you done to these kids? And I said, but Mary Ellen, I'm the one who's eating baby carrots too. And here's the thing. I was the veggies and dip mom. I made hummus from scratch and stuff like that. So now I have adult kids and grandchildren. And my grandson, it was so funny. Fresh squeezed orange juice. We were at my friend's house, 2.5, takes a sip and goes, oh, this helps keep me hydrated. My friends almost fell off the chair. It was so funny, but it really is amazing when you teach your kids. As soon as they had teeth, I would pull the strings off of celery, skin the back of it so it wouldn't get caught, and sliver celery and carrot sticks and everything else since they were little. They are going to learn whatever you're going to give them to learn.
Yeah.
You know what? I had chips in my house. I had stuff. I wasn't that mom that wouldn't let them eat anything. But, they'd come in, oh, mom, we're out of salsa. And I'd throw a couple of fresh tomatoes and some stuff in my food processor and go, here you go. So I made my own things. I was always that mom. And when my kids started eating at friends' houses, mom, they opened up a jar of sauce and took something out of the freezer. And I looked at them. I said, what do you think? Everybody cooks like your mother? And they were shocked that they didn't.
Yeah.
They thought everybody's mom was like this. And I think it's really important because we model for our children all these different things. I would love for you to talk about your book, Sugar Freed, because this method is something that people need to understand.
Yeah, it is something that it's definitely written for faith-based women. My faith was very instrumental in my journey because what I discovered as I was dealing with my food struggles and really examining what I had been doing all those years, that I was a food addict. I was a sugar addict. Like I was coping, I was constantly craving, and I talk a lot about secret eating. And, I was just carrying around a lot of guilt and shame about my food behaviors, and then I would try for short periods of another program. But because I was still doing everything in moderation, that was like continuing to trigger the sugar cravings. So getting off of sugar was really the key to what set me free. And so I see all the women that I work with, I have very similar stories to mine. I'm very blessed and privileged to be able to coach people that are just like me, because that makes it a lot easier. But I have the book broken down into 4 sections purposely because, first of all, the first section is called Resolve It. We have to figure out and get to the point, like I was on the side of that mountain. Like, I have to do something about this. I can't continue to go on living like this. So we have to have that resolve to really take ownership of our health. And then the next section is called Restoring Your Body. And that's where I give the practical information, like, what does this look like? What are we going to eat? When are we going to eat? When are we not going to eat? And, the choices that we make to nourish our body every day. And then the next section is about renewing your mind. This really, the most difficult part of this journey for me, and I warn my coaching clients too, is the emotional health, the emotional aspect. Because again, most of us that I work with and people that read my book, we do cope with food a lot. And it's very common. It's not something we like to talk about, but it's very common. And then the fourth and final section of the book is Redeeming Your Spiritual Walk. And this really was a spiritual journey for me because I had neglected my faith and my spiritual growth. I was very spiritually immature for so many years. And this is really what changed my life, is like when I began to look into God's word on how he was calling me as a believer to care for my health. I never thought that there was good guidance. I never thought to really look there for that, but I found it. And truly, that's what changed my life and is changing the lives of the women that I have the privilege to coach. That's the book is set up.
What a great way to wrap up this conversation. Christine, what would you like to leave our listeners with, and how may they reach out to you?
Yeah, I would just like to leave them with considering the cravings. Like I realized that all of those years that I struggled with my weight, that I was craving all the wrong things, and not just craving food. I was just craving some way to fill all the holes in my soul that I was feeling, empty and shameful and guilt because of my health struggles. So if we can identify what we truly are craving and go on this difficult journey, it is one of the hardest things you would ever do, but is one of the most worthwhile things to flip your cravings so that you can stop craving the sugar and just start craving. I say, now I crave joy. It's like I just crave the joy in living. And that's what my book's all about. That's what I guide women through in my coaching program. So it really does come all down to what we're craving. And that's really a deep question to consider and think about.
It really is. How can people find you, Christine?
They can find me on my website, which is just my name, ChristineTrimpe.com. There's a page there about my book, Sugar Freed. The subtitle is called Stop Losing the Weight Loss Battle, Start Gaining the Victory. And there's also a whole page there about my program, which is also called the Sugar Freed Me Weight Loss Solution. So the book and the coaching program work hand in hand.
All of Christine's links are going to be live. Trimpe is spelled Trimpe. So I encourage you, reach out, because so many of us are dealing with the yo-yo life of weight coming on and coming off. So take a look, take a read, and take off some weight, because you really do. I like the idea that you crave joy. So yeah. Christine, thank you so much for coming and sharing your journey with us today.
Thank you for having me, Dori.
It's been my pleasure. And for all of you tuning in, thanks so much for being here. We're going to close out with our fabulous theme song from Smith Sisters and the Sunday Drivers. So till next time, this is Dori DeCarlo saying go out and create a marvelous you. Bye for now.
She is sure, she is sure, she is strong, she is strong, she is true, she is true. She is brave, she is brave, she is bold, she is bold, she is you, she is you, she is you, she is you. She is sure, she is sure, she is strong, she is strong, she is true, she is true. She is brave, she is brave, she is bold, she is bold, she is you, she is you, she is you, she is you. Sure of herself, yeah, she takes care of biz, powerful and strong. Yeah, she knows who she is, has integrity, She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you.
Having a life scholarship and being able to afford to go to college made me feel inspired to go.
When I got a life scholarship, it was such a relief.
I knew that I wanted to have an impact. Having a life scholarship through the SC Education Lottery was huge. It gave me the opportunity to make that impact right here at home.
The South Carolina Education Lottery. A better you, a better us, a better South Carolina. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.